making this video about the full moon in Gemini that happens on June 23rd, Friday, around 6:30 to 7 p.m. So the new moon is a time when the sun and moon come together, and this starts a 30-day cycle based on that sign. Wherever that sign falls from your ascendant shows the important lesson that you'll be learning for that month. So this is what I outline through my member site and through the hundreds of members that get the daily forecast and the monthly forecast, the bi-monthly forecast. So if you're interested in that, you want to click the link and register for 2 weeks of forecast and the Gemini forecast for your sign. Only 50 cents. But the common theme for everyone is this time of curiosity, creativity, exploration, communication. These are qualities of Gemini. Gemini is really the sign of sort of genius and figuring things out and how things work, and the mind moving very quickly through a lot of information and data and filtering through large sums of information, large amounts of data, and seeing it correctly with neutrality, with equanimity, without a lot of passion and strong opinions and all of that stuff. Right? All those strong opinions of Mars and even the Sun. Mercury is fast and flexible and is not really looking to have a strong opinion. Or even if there is a strong opinion, it's subject to change. It's open to understanding and to accommodating new information, new ways of seeing things. And so this is the true sign of intelligence. It's this capacity and ability to hold paradox, paradoxical views, that this thing is correct, that thing is also correct. When we get into strong opinions and we get boxed into strong opinions, we can become sort of fanatical. So fanatical views and, again, strong opinions where this is right, that's wrong. How can this be right and that be right? Only one way could be right, the right way. There's only this way that's the right way. So you see this kind of hard-headed opinions is not very, for instance, not very scientific or not very useful. It's not very easy to speak to people who have these kind of hard opinions. Again, those strong opinions have to do with Mars, mainly with Mars energy, or sometimes even Jupiter, which is beliefs. Because those beliefs serve us in a certain way, they keep us on track. But we need to test those beliefs with intelligence and discrimination of Mercury. We need to filter and water down some of those hard-headed, strong opinions of Mars with more information gathering, more curiosity, more equanimity, rather than making up our mind that we're right and we're ready to defend what we think is right, which are these strong opinions of Mars. Mercury comes next in the planetary order to invite variety and to seek new ways of doing things, and then want to explain them, and to explain them well, and to share it with others. These are all qualities of Mercury. Sharing, interaction, interchange. This also leads us to humor and fun and speech, and noticing how, for instance, humor is a very interesting thing to ponder, why we laugh at this kind of discrepancy in details that should follow along. You say something that's, like a metaphoric speech or a sort of turn of the phrase that's humorous. We recognize that with Mercury energy. So again, it's the symbol of Gemini, which is the masculine nature of Mercury, through the mind and through the intellect and through the element of air, that symbol of Gemini is a man with a club and a woman playing a musical instrument. So it shows this range of possibility where we're trying to understand things from all points of view. That's the greatness of Gemini. So for the next 30 days, it's a great time for you to relax your hard-headed opinions about things and invite more variety, and seek more information, and not be so locked into your, again, sort of polarized points of view about things, including your teachings and whatnot, and those things that you believe. Now, it's happening in the nakshatra of Ardra, which is ruled by Lord Shiva, the transformative deity, and it shows where we transform and destroy something so that we can create the space for something else. And again, this is analogous to how we destroy fiction in order to create truth, for example. Again, very much that Gemini modality of destroying fiction and the willingness to not go along with things even if it makes us comfortable. You know, Gemini energy will destroy things even that make us comfortable, like our beliefs. You know, the reason people believe in things and don't want to, and sort of want to plug their ears against new information, is because we're comforted by that. It's comforting to believe something, and we're scared of learning something that might threaten our beliefs about a lot of things, right? Not just religion, but let's say we believe something about our partner, and we don't want to look at something that might threaten that belief, because then if we stop believing that, we might make a change that we kind of don't want to make. So all of these things, this quality of destruction and the courage to face things head on and to change is shown by Ardra Nakshatra. Now when you look at the sun, in fact even now since the solstice, the sun is in Ardra Nakshatra, and we're looking furthest away from the center of our galaxy. So when we look at the sun, we're actually looking away from the galaxy, from the galactic core. If we were on the sun looking back at the Earth, we would see the core of the galaxy behind us. That visual alignment is there now. So the rays of the so literally our gaze and the stars behind the sun now, Ardra Nakshatra, are the stars that lead out of our galaxy. So it's a very powerful time. In addition, this new moon happens very close to Mars and Mercury, which are also both in Gemini. So we have Sun, Moon, Mars, and Mercury all in Gemini. So again, a lot of speech, skill, passion, energy, power. In addition, Mars is combust. So the combustion of Mars makes for some frustration, maybe even around information and communication and speech. You want to be careful getting frustrated with people, especially with people's strong, hard-headed opinions. If you're someone who has a powerful Mercury or planets in Gemini, you might really notice some frustration now with some people's hard-headed opinions. I've actually noticed it recently myself in some people's hard-headed opinions, like about zodiacs and other things that I'm like, yeah. Crazy stuff. But to handle those things without getting frustrated or, you know, getting into fights and battles will be important. Choose your battles wisely, but you may also find that certain battles are worth having now, with all this energy in Ardra Nakshatra. Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Mars are all in Ardra Nakshatra. Lord Shiva, it's a time of change, transformation, potential destruction, especially of things that are not dharmic and purposeful. So, a couple other things. We just had Saturn go retrograde back into Scorpio, where it's going to be until October. This is a big shift. Saturn was in Sagittarius, showing more of a hopeful sort of vision, where we commit to what inspires us rather than what we fear and our imagined fears and stresses. So Saturn going back into Scorpio is now time for us to clean up some of the unresolved loose ends from the last year and a half, or last couple years actually, since the end of 2014, when Saturn entered Scorpio, end of 2014 through early 2017. Saturn now goes back into Scorpio, so we clean up some of those messes, make it tidy, so we can then truly move forward toward what inspires us. So between now and October, you may be, again, finishing some karmas around Scorpio, imagined fears, and that sort of energy. So we will see this globally and in governments and in other things as we shake loose some of the kind of baggage of the last 2.5 years or so, when Saturn went through Scorpio. So we're also getting near an upcoming eclipse in a couple months in August. I'll be talking more about that. But for the most part, this Gemini cycle is important for speech, communication, the willingness to adapt, change, and transform based on new information, to find those things that are worth defending, but try not to get frustrated with battles that aren't worth fighting. So if you want to see how this influences your sign, again, I invite you to be a member where I've done a forecast for all 12 signs, because this is going to be different. If you're Pisces, all this happens in your 4th house of your heart and your feelings. If you're Capricorn, it's your 6th house of battles and struggles. If you're Leo, it's your 11th house. If you're, Taurus, it's your 2nd house. So again, this continuum is always shaping our life, these natural cycles. And so if you want to see how this works for you, only 50 cents. If you're not a member, you also get daily forecasts for 2 weeks. And then if you want to stay a member, you can do that as well. But very important transformative time with all these planets in Ardra Nakshatra, the time of Lord Shiva and his power to transform and remain steadfast in the midst of our fears and passions and all those things that we get sucked up